there's a table that no one would have predicted when we started out earlier. The two teams fancied to progress automatically have both been beaten and now sit bottom of the group, pointless and facing an uphill task. Romania are top by virtue of the 3 goals they scored in that comprehensive win over Ukraine earlier. And now Slovakia have a famous win as well. They rode their luck perhaps, but they won't care. 1-0 winners over Belgium. What I'm loving is that already this European Championships, we haven't had a goalless game so far, and we've had shocks today as well. That's been brilliant.
Yeah, this is why we love the game, because it throws up results like this. And if ever there was a case in kind of, hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard, this was a prime example of that today. Slovakia were so well organised, both in and out of possession. Belgium, while they were better in the second half, they had 3 big chances in the first half, 5 big chances in the second half, plus the 2 disallowed goals. But Slovakia, their composure, their togetherness, you even seen it sometimes. Belgium were trying to build play with 3s down the sides, and Slovakia always had 4 around them. They were so good at isolating the Belgian players in their attempts to build play. And then sometimes they did ride their luck, but when you're prepared to put your body on the line and you know that you can go in and commit because the fella behind you is going to step in and cover for you, they were absolutely outstanding, and the midfield 3 were brilliant today. I thought it was a really solid, brave, gutsy performance from them, but they showed that they had technical quality in the key moments of the game.
We mentioned Romania's shock as well, in a sense, 3-0 over Ukraine. Will Romania be smelling blood now because they have Belgium next on Saturday?
Romania will certainly fancy their chances, but Slovakia will take a great heart and confidence from this performance today. You always hope for the best. You have a degree of confidence going into these tournaments, but the smaller nations, there's always a little bit of fear factor, a bit of tension as well, into the unknown. Can we really compete at this level? So there might have been a little bit of that subconsciously in the minds of those Slovakian players. So performance like this and the result today will do absolute wonders. And yeah, real similarities with the Romanian performance today in terms of the defensive structure. I thought they were great. I really enjoyed watching them play out possession in the football, the Slovakians today. The compact nature of the team, nobody ever got isolated. They had each other's back, really aggressive out possession of the football. Went after the Belgians when they could, individually, defended their area of the pitch like it really mattered. Spoke about Zinchenko early in the game today, token gesture in terms of defending, not taking a lot of pride in his defending. Well, they certainly took pride in their defending today all over the pitch. It was great to see.
During the last World Cup, Belgium didn't even get out of the group. This was the end of the golden generation, perhaps. Do they need a whole new kind of a new cycle?
No, I think you know what, that last group game, the last World Cup against Morocco, they could have had 20 goals, no joke. Tonight they probably could have had 5 or 6. They must feel like they're cursed. Lukaku was a close up of him after the game there. He was looking up to heaven. He must wonder, what have I done? He's got 85 international goals. Over the last few years, if he'd have taken some of the chances he's got, he'd have about 150 international goals. Honestly, he gets chance after chance in games. Tonight, first half, he could have had a hat-trick. Second half, very unlucky. One tap in, but in the right place, as he always is, and done by, a fraction of an inch. And a very good finish then that was brought back probably 10, 15 seconds in play and shown to be a handball from a sound wave on a football.
So if it wasn't for modern technology, Belgium would have overcome.
Yeah, listen, they had cleared off the line, I think. In fairness, the Slovakia player knocked himself out, clearing it off the line. There was a number of different opportunities. It wasn't as clear-cut to me as the Romania-Ukraine game, where I think Romania were really worthwhile, their 3-0 win. I think tonight, Slovakia worked really hard, reorganised, but Belgium had their chances and they should have taken them.
Ball, which we'll be talking about because that's the controversial moment, I think, of the game. Great entertainment, certainly, but in terms of this new technology and the handball situation, it's called connected technology. It's, a motion sensing microchip that can track every touch at a rate of 500 times a second.
Yeah, it's inside the ball, so it's the chip that's inside the ball that they use. There's 8 cameras around the stadium, and they use that for the semi-automated offside. so they can tell the exact millisecond of the actual contact with the ball to judge if it's offside with the cameras. So obviously when you see the little heartbeat, that's obviously the chip in the ball registering the touch of the hand.
But I seem to recall that handball had the word deliberate in it, that it's an offence when the player deliberately touches the ball. Now, can we say that in such a tiny motion of the hand, which was picked up by the sensor, so technology picked up that the fact that the ball was touched, but was that deliberate?
No, but that's gone from the game as far as I understand in terms of whether it's deliberate. It's whether the player actually gained an advantage, and by gaining that advantage it led to a goal. It is very interesting. It is a talking point. Unfortunately, I don't like talking about it. I get very kind of bored with it, this subject of VAR. I can understand this. I think there's not much argument here. It's a fractionally offside, but I think he is offside. Lukaku, could he have worked a bit harder to get himself back onside? Maybe so. From this angle, you sense that if he actually didn't touch the ball, there's a chance that ball would have gone into the goal anyway from the header from Onana. But obviously Lukaku didn't realise that. He wanted to get a touch. I can understand that one to a point. This is the one which really kind of grates with me. There's a great tussle going on there between defender and attacker. Penna does brilliant. Nobody's appealing for an offside there. And it's a wonderful finish. Look at that, the euphoria from the Belgium supporters, like that outburst of emotion with the goal. And again, we come back to this. Referees have to have a look at it. Does he touch that with his hand? Absolutely. Does he gain an advantage, Tony, by touching with his hand? Yes, I think he does. If he doesn't touch that ball, for me, Vavro eases him under the ball and probably gains possession of it. So technically, did I get the decision right? Yes. But for me, it really does stick in my throat. It really does. Because I'm not after perfection in football. I'm not after every decision being right. I'll accept human culpability, people getting mistakes wrong, linesmen and referees, because I think this is really hurting the game in terms of the spectacle. I'm not enjoying this. I'm not enjoying goals being disallowed and other opposition teams celebrating a goal being disallowed. It's taking the spontaneous nature out of the game in terms of goal celebration, and for me that's absolutely fundamental, one of the cornerstones of the game. That connection fans have with the game, what they're seeing, and they can actually trust what they're seeing and being able to celebrate a goal in its simplest of forms. And now we've taken that away from supporters with this VAR technology.
But it
is
down
important
to
to get the decisions right, though, isn't it?
It's the bias. Like, if you're Slovakia, you absolutely want that ruled out. And if it's your team, you absolutely want that call back and ruled out. But if you're Belgium, you don't. And it's always dependent on who's in favour, who you want to win, or who you want.
What's your neutral hat, though?
But hang on a minute, the referee was asked to go to the screen to adjudicate.
Yeah.
Now, there was nothing for him to adudicate if the technology has already said that there was a touch. There was no point. That's just a charade.
So I think he's probably being asked is, does the touch influence or favour the attacking player? And you've just said you believe it does. And you're a defender, so...
Kev, you're an attacker. Does the touch outside on the wing with a lot of work to do?
A lot goes on after it happens. He gets the slightest graze on it. He has to go beat a defender, cut inside, pick someone out. If that comes into the box, bounces up and grazes Lukaku's hand just before he finishes, I'd say that's what VAR's for. Make that decision. When it's happened back to pitch, it's a defender playing the long ball down the pitch in the first place. If the ball had bounced up and hit that defender's hand before he played the long ball, where does it end in the phases that you go back? Do you go back 1 phase, 2 phase, 3 phase, 4 phase? VAR wasn't brought in for this. VAR was brought in for offsides, for stuff on the goal line, for obvious handballs in the box, for, as I said, if it comes to Lukaku, maybe he fouls or touches or whatever, but out on the wing when he sees a defender to beat and cross in, the referee is about 5 yards away from that. He can't see it in real time. We're looking at a sound wave on a bloody screen to decide whether he's touched it with his hands or not. That's what it's coming out. I think it's so...
Yeah.
We've opened Pandora's box now. This is where we are. There's no shutting it.
It was like a scan in a gynecological ward or something, you know what I mean? It was extraordinary. And is that where we're going to go with the game? Because, you have to have it surely in every football competition if it's going to be judged in the main competitions.
Do we know the rule, actually? Do we know how far back we go? If the defender, before he hit the long ball, had a touch with his hand, do they go back there? Do they go back if the keeper had it just come outside his box or something and touch it with his hand before he kicked it long? Is there a set time where you don't go back and check if there's something happened in the build-up to a goal?
Well, I think in this one, if he's the player that provides the assist for the goal, so he's the last player to interact with the ball.
But is there, though? Is the assist? There's an assist to an assister? Is there a rule?
It's always changing. It's always changing. It's always involved. This is what I'm talking about. It's only going to get bigger and bigger. Now, some people, I don't know, we're talking about it. People might say it's a point of discussion, but for me, it's not what I want to be talking about, in all honesty. You know, I really don't. And I can understand why it's probably going to stay here. I think I'd get rid of it in a heartbeat tomorrow and start again. But I understand why it's here, because it's conversation. It fills news cycles, 24-hour sports news now, day in, day out. The big media companies, they need this.
Whether it's been, it's talked about in the media or not, it's in the game now. It's in the game.
Take it out. Take it out, Tony. I speak to people, why can't we get rid of it? Oh, it's here to stay, we can't get rid of it. Why not? Why can't we hold the hands up and say, I don't like the direction where this is going, let's roll back. Let's go back to where we were.
But if you're saying that's the right decision,
yeah,
potentially, by not disallowing it, you're denying Slovakia one of the biggest
that's life,
results
Lisa,
in their history.
That's life. Things don't go your way. But might as well learn about it now. That's what I think. Football and life, they kind of resemble each other. Got to get used to it. You don't get everything in life. Don't get it your own way. Sometimes things go against you. You got to accept it. You got to suck up and get on. I accepted it as a footballer. Not everything went well. I got away with a bit of stuff.
Would you not be happy to keep it goal line and the offside? My thing would be anything that happens in the 18-yard box. After that, forget about it. Goal line, offside, and anything in the 18-yard box. Going back out to something that happened on the wing that was a sound wave on a ball. The ref is 5 yards away, doesn't see it. That's crap. Do you know? Make the legitimate decisions in the box where all the good stuff happens anyway.
Goal line.
Listen, Lisa, if Belgium had taken their chances, we wldn't even be having this conversation.
We wouldn't be talking about this in the first place, absolutely. And
should have been 5-1.
And look, we've talked a lot about Lukaku and the number of chances he had, and this is another one where he gets the shot away at the near post and it's saved. And again, you see the build-up here. This one, I think, is Trossard gets the shot away. But they had so many chances, and sometimes when we talked about the first half, you're missing those big chances. Lukaku again. This is the one he has to hit the target on that one, and then you're talking about Tedesco. Does he take him off? Does he put somebody else on? Openda did so well when he comes on, and then if he scores like he almost did, apart from the touch on the ball, he potentially is the one that rescues the game. But they did create some very good chances. Again, De Bruyne just doesn't get enough power on that one. But enough any other day, you probably win that game by 3 or 4.
Yeah, it was made a mistake, Tedesco, not getting the pen. That's not like Heinz, so we were talking about it here in his studio. He's got to get him on the pitch, his second strike. He done everything but drop De Bruyne. He put Trossard as the second strike. Then brought Tielemans on and put De Bruyne back into the number 10, where it was crying for somebody with the pace, the second striker, to get down the sides and stretch them and get in behind Lukaku. Eventually made the substitution, got a pen on, and we saw the impact he had, but it came too late.
Schranz, who scored a goal in the 7th minute that gave them a famous victory over Belgium. And we'll have a look at it now again, because it was a particularly decent effort. Who wants to take this?
Belgium's own fault, Tony. Doku from the throw-in. What was he doing? And the finish from Schranz is really, really good. But Doku here, shouldn't have been thrown to him in the first place. But then, badly given away. He's onside from the rebound, and it's actually, when you see it from this angle, I think you see it better. His finish, he's actually guided this past the keeper. And there's one, this is the angle, you see it, comes back to him, comes back quick enough. On the half volley, side foots it, guides it, lovely finish. And that was the game. It wasn't a case of Slovakia breaking Belgium down, really, good football. It was Belgium's own fault. In fairness, Slovakia, they had players forward, they were pressing, they had numbers up. If they don't have them numbers forward, they don't score.
Was there any sense there that there might have been an offside?
No, I don't think so. I think it was well checked. I never felt that at the time. Watching it now, I don't think so. I'd be frustrated if you were Doku's teammate. But it was early in the game, and Belgium still had 70-odd minutes to sort out, and they didn't.
Can you imagine what the scenes must be like in Slovakia this evening? Because we did mention a small enough country, similar size to ourselves perhaps, decent football history. They get occasionally their moments in the sun. Today was their day, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you can just imagine what it's like over there. And also the confidence that it gives them. And I know Kenny was saying earlier that sometimes these smaller nations might be a little bit nervous going into tournaments. Sometimes I think when you're going in, you've got nothing to lose. You can almost throw caution to win. All the pressure was on Belgium today. There was no pressure on Slovakia. They weren't expected to win. And that's what really impressed me about the performance that they put in. They really took the game to Belgium. They showed no fear. And they weren't passive. Like Calzone doesn't like his team to sit in low blocks. He wants them to be energetic and proactive, and they were, and they were, they were great to watch.
Kenny, I want to talk about Kevin De Bruyne because he's the most celebrated Belgian player. He's one of the most gifted players we've seen in the Premier League on the world stage. Where's his career at? What can you learn from him from today?
Yeah, well, let's watch at the end of the tournament. Spoke about potentially this being his last tournament. He certainly wasn't the worst Belgian player out on the pitch today. What I'd say about De Bruyne, even when he's not at his best, he's still looking to get on the ball, take responsibility, and try and make things happen. It wasn't all bad from him today, but I thought it was a real kind of mixed bag. The Kevin De Bruyne I remember his very best. He seemed to bestride the pitch really with a kind of magic wand in his hand, really, just in the big moments. He provided that kind of crucial pass, that moment of quality. Didn't quite see that from him today. Too many of these passes just got away from not quite getting the accuracy of the pass or the way the pass right. He played a number of positions, starting the 10, went back into a deep line midfield position, was roaming around the pitch trying to get on the ball and provide that decisive moment. He couldn't quite do it today, and I think this is where we are with Kevin De Bruyne, that kind of 9 out of 10 player who just kind of dominated games for such a long period of time at club and international level. I think he's just on the wane. That's not a huge criticism, that's just a fact of life. That's the way it is. It comes to all the top players. I think we're just seeing a bit of that over the last year. Kevin De Bruyne is just slightly in decline and not maybe being able to impact games as he did in his very prime.
He's still, what I would say about him, because he can sulk a bit and not look like he's enjoying things too much. Maybe put his hands up in the air a lot today. He didn't. He ran after everything. He chased everything right up to the 97th minute. He was still going strong. He looked fitter than maybe I've seen in a while as well, but wasn't his best game.